Yeah, updating channel titles. All right, I think we're here. We're ready. Okay. Anyway, we can. Come on. I need to just pull these both out so then I can work on them independently, and then I can still see my reference photo. Cool. All right, so I could just copy and paste, but that's not really fun, you know? I should try to actually be learning, so we'll redo one. We'll do 2 layers. I will allow 2 layers today. I'm gonna try to like loosely sketch out face. Digital makes you so lazy. The way that like you can just replace or like resize stuff, it's like too easy. So I was watching an interesting video I saw on Instagram the other day that I thought was super cool, and it was about subsurface scattering in darker skin, and so that's what kind of prompted me to specifically want to do a portrait of a black person, because I was like, ooh, a new chance to sort of learn or practice what hopefully I have learned. And her clavicles look like super pronounced. That's kind of cool. Just trying to find landmarks of the face. I feel like that's the thing, is like practicing proportions on the face. For like portrait stuff is hard to get likeness. Like painting real faces is relatively sort of easy, or like So you can sort of draw like a happy face and it'll look like a face in a lot of ways. But I made her. So proportions, like, it's just tiny proportion changes make a difference. It's kind of like, are we trying to get her? If we're trying to get her exact likeness, like we can decide that we want to like just trace some of the aspects to see how close we get. But we should try to do as much as we can first. I feel like before we resort to tracing stuff. Too big. I like, it's good to like, you want to keep practicing because you'll kind of like figure out what your own biases are. I tend to make the eyes too far apart and the nose is too big, so I always have to like keep checking myself. But oh yeah, so it was like the video I was watching was talking about how like a lot of times in art school, so like in art school you're taught to like do red blushes around the nose and the cheekbones because in lighter shades of skin, which is what European kind of art, like classical Western art history is often based on, is it you see this light goes through the skin, hits the blood cells, bounces back off. So you get flushes. You get more blood coloring, meaning more warmth, like reds. But they're saying because of the melanin in black skin, or just even highly pigmented melanated skin, it's more of like a gold. And it's like, you can totally see it in like this reference photo. Let me like, it's almost like this, like they're like these gold tones as opposed to like reds. There's some red browns kind of, but that's more in the shadows, like where you would usually see like really reddishness. You get like these like also in the chin, the nose, you get more of like a gold. You can see it especially right here, right? So it's still warm, but I'm like, this is cool. I'm into this. Really subtle angles and subtle proportions. Things like shapes of nostrils matter. All that kind of stuff. Come on, start listening to me, Photoshop, okay. So usually, I mean, like, I don't know. I don't always sketch out stuff, but I felt like today I kind of wanted to at least get a better idea of, like, what I'm working with, kind of. And then we can go, we'll get in, hopefully get into the painting soon. Like I'm starting to get into like really drawing, which is maybe not the best idea if we're trying to really paint this, but I think I need to move her eyebrows up a little bit. Just up like that. Alright, we can kind of fix this as we go because we're trying to do one layer. So I wanna find like a nice, so it's like I'm trying to pick something fairly dark because we want to be able to go up for highlights and then also down into shadows. So I will at least do this before we move into like truly painting. Sort of kind of like toning the canvas, if you will. I really also wanted to find a picture of where there's like blue elements, because I think the complementary colorness of it is gonna make it like awesome. Because blue greens will make, we can push it more greenish. Are gonna make like those, the richer darker skin tones like way cooler, I think. Oh, okay, that hole needs to be way up higher. those eyes out. Brightness for the teeth, and then cool. Now we can like see what's going on, and now it's just like painting time, you know. All right. Okay, I'm not. Be brave. Fuck it. Okay, I'm not gonna. I'll at least keep the background layer separate so I can change colors pretty easily. But we'll start here, and then I kind of want to make it. I'm like seeing kind of like I'm gonna exaggerate, but there's like green here, and then like purples here. But let's just get a nice richer shadow. And we'll try to start blocking in shadows here. Maybe get the eye. Okay, so there's like a fill light here. And look at this, like there's like greens over here, which is kind of neat. Okay, and so like this area of the neck, I'm gonna call that shadow too. At least at this point, like we're gonna actually say that like most of this is actually in shadow. And we're gonna really rely on this, not that. Whoa. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on there. I'm gonna see how there's like these really sharp highlights on the brow, or like the bridge of the nose and the cheek. That gives us like a really good directional source of like where the main like light source is coming from. Which is actually really nice. Like make it more yellowy, bronze-ish. Ooh, that might be too big of a jump. This is kind of like a bronze yellow red, I think. I think already the color I picked for most of her skin tone is actually too cool, to be honest. But we'll go with what we've got here. Push the desaturation there. Because it's like, this needs to be darker than that slightly, and it should be way cooler. And I'm kind of seeing that with like some of these greens that are showing up here. These transition areas. I think this color already needs to be a little bit redder. Trying to find the right tone for her lips too. It's like kind of a pinkish red, but purplish. Ooh, like that maybe. I think this one is where you have that very cool reflected light. It's like not that bright though. Just trying to right now kind of warm up some of the shadows and also make sure that the shadow shapes are a little bit more accurate. So I want like these really hot pink lights on the right side. Then I'm gonna even kind of push it, go with like a blue-gray on the other side as a reflected light. And I might just start like, as they say, pushing my opinion a little bit more on some of the, like, maybe hitting the edge of the thing. Ooh. Hitting the edge of the, just the outline of the jaw, tip of the ear, maybe. Pushing the color, make it a little bit more interesting. Still keeping it pretty geometric, and then we'll like slowly maybe, we'll just keep it going. Super dark skin tone, I could go for that, because ideally that'll just sort of blend into the black. I think even just giving like this, like these little rough texture bits are enough to sort of like sell the idea that this is denim. I feel like that's good enough for the shirt. Now it's about finessing some of the shadow shapes, emphasizing some like probably better to simplify first, overly simplify a shadow shape, and then come back in a little bit later to finesse. I used to always try to just get like the perfect shadow shape in all the time, and then it's like until you have like it's really difficult to do unless you're the type of person that you're just very, very accurate. And I am more of the type, like, I don't really enjoy being super accurate all the time. I kind of like going in and drawing and kind of letting stuff happen, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm not like your ace drafts person who's just like, I'm going to copy this exactly. Like, I don't even really want to do that. I mean, sometimes with portraits, it's nice to be, if I was able to be like, I'm just going to copy this exactly. But I like more about kind of having, I don't know, letting more interesting things happen, kind of, if that makes sense. And I guess you could, like, accuse me of just, like, not being very good. That's fair. Being like, but, I don't know, that, I think hyper accuracy is just one metric to look at art through, and it probably shouldn't even be it should definitely not be the only metric to look at art through. I think it's much harder to like say something unique or interesting or just even personal. I feel like having that come through in a piece of art is much, because it's so nebulous, you're like, what does it even mean? And you're like, I don't know. I don't even know what that means. I don't know either. So I think because of that, that makes it even more fascinating. Ooh, yeah. Okay, this is why you should also try to get a monitor that is color corrected. I'm painting on a TV, which is a pretty bad idea, because to me, like, what you're seeing on screen now, this is like this desaturated, more gray version is kind of what I see as the more colorful one, and then this feels too orange to me. But now when I'm looking on my color calibrated monitor, this one actually looks way better. So I'm gonna go with that. So this is the type of stuff that I wouldn't be able to do if I was still just on one layer. So this is at least the nice thing about keeping the background layers separate. That it lets me kind of like get a little bit more funky with some of this stuff. get a interesting background. Now to keep pushing it. Oh, I forgot I just flattened this. This is cool. Okay. Back to painting. Let's model some of this hair. Okay, that should go super dark. All the hair in this back region, like behind the right side of her head, which is like the screen's left, like this should be super dark because she has black hair and then her head is casting a shadow. So like that's like an easy mix. And then everything else, just think of it as like there's form, you know? And so it's like, okay, so this is an interesting thing, right? Is that we know we have like a fill light. But it's like, the way I think about it is like you still render it as if there is still one light source. And then you come in with like the bounce light later. I'm gonna have some fun with the highlights. And it's like you can kind of get a little bit crazier with the like the areas around the eyes because that's like a natural focal point. So like if you want to go like a little nuts, that's like that would be the place to do it. Would be right here. If we're gonna like over render something, it's like this is the place to over render would be the eyes. If you're gonna render an area, do the eyes. You know, like I'm a big fan of Harakut. They're I think Austrian or German artist duo that collaborate a lot. And Hera does. It's like Hera and Akut, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but he does like she does super loose. They do like big murals, and so they do like really big, like loose ink work and like fills, and then like he comes in and will like hyper render an eye. So it's this nice mix of like the outlines are sometimes sketchy, and then there's like just one eye, or like the head of the eye of the bird is like super rendered, and it's like, wait, do I have their books? I don't. Oh yeah. So like, they'll do stuff like this. This kind of makes sense. Hopefully, you can see it where it's like, sorry. Yo, what up, Rain? See, it's like that dog's, like those eyes are like super rendered, right? But then like it's in this like mist of this like messiness. This is their like first book, so this is like really old. They've been around for forever. Or like something like this. I love this. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's like this like crazy dog that's like, you can see it's like all super like loose, and then like those eyes are like photographic almost. So it's a nice cross of how you can mix rendered and then like very loose stuff. How's it going, Rain? Anyway, and that's sort of like what I'm trying to, think about here is like how like you want to get super sort of rendered around in like very specific areas, if you're gonna do it. Not have it be all super crazy. And by crazy, I just mean loose and sketchy. Ah, okay, sorry. Hydrating. We have house kombucha, strawberry, ginger. This is very, like, healthy flavored. Sorry. I didn't see... I told you, in OBS, it doesn't show me the stupid things. But, you're sick? No! I'm tired. I'm very tired. I've been trying to wake up earlier to help with the cat stuff because Mike wakes us up way too early. He's up at like 4 in the morning, and so we like, if we're lucky, he lets us sleep in. Well, I'm a heavy sleeper, so really my poor wife has to deal with it. But yeah, he will wake us up at 7 a.m. easily, or like sometimes he'll like want to get up at like 5, to be honest. And you're like, bro, nope. Here actually is a shorter descent or ascent. Set up alerts to see it. Okay, do you have Restream chat in your OBS? Because if you have Restream chat in your OBS and you know how to make that show Twitch alerts, then I don't know why it doesn't do it. I have an alert box set. Let's see. Yeah, I have a chat alert box set in OBS, and ever since I put in Restream, it like doesn't work. I don't know. So you can be upset with me, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, heavy sleep does kind of make it nice. Not going to lie. But so, I don't know. I'm tired because I've been trying to get up earlier to like help out with the kitties. Because he also chills out a little bit more when we're both up. than when we're just like, yeah, I don't know. Bah. Stop streaming. Whatever. I'll stop streaming when I want to stop streaming. Okay, I'm not gonna. I'm like focusing on like trying to render this ear, and I'm like, that's probably not a good use of my time. Yeah, I know. I know. I had them set up. They used to work, and then once I got Restream, it doesn't work anymore. Oh, she has like. Okay, this is hard. So blame Restream for a shit product. And you're like, well, why do you use it then, Rick, if it sucks so bad? I'm like, because I already prepaid for a year. And at least this way it makes me, like, have it on YouTube. No. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll just quit. I'll quit art. I'll stop. I'll let this technological thing dictate my entire life, and I'll just be like, you know what? Because I couldn't get in-stream alerts to work on Twitch, I've decided to quit making art for the rest of my life and go against every principle I have that I've talked about creativity and for the past 20 years. Oh, what does it do? It allows me to stream in both YouTube and Twitch, and if I wanted to pay more, multiple ones, all at the exact same time. That's why I'm using it. And I had Streamlabs to do that, but then Streamlabs, like, I don't know, it's a long story. There's, like, it's because, like, I was, for DesignerCon, I was supposed to start, like, building stuff on TikTok, and then, so then it was, like, fine, but then at some point, TikTok was like, oh, you can't stream, like, you can only stream through our desktop app, and then it was like, this is so not really worth it anymore. So, I don't know. So I have to, like, have different stream software for TikTok, for everything else, and it's just kind of annoying. Okay. Now I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna be super cheap. Copy. Move that over there. Okay. Well, do you want to refund me for my year of Restream? Wait, so what's the difference between Stream Elements and Stream... Wait. And like, so is this what you use instead of, like, OBS? Yeah, I want to see when you redeem your stream points, too. Like, you know, there isn't... Maybe, okay, maybe this is what I need to build. Maybe I'll make a startup that makes specifically streaming support for people who do, like, art or, like, need to stream not a game. I don't know. This doesn't look like it has everything I need. It has... This has, like... I mean, I have alerts and chatbots and stuff, but it's like... I don't know. It doesn't say it has restream capability though. Unplugged. Jesus Christ. Jesus Cristo. Come on. Alright. We're back. Thank you, Rain, for letting me know that I just couldn't talk properly. Okay. I decided I don't want that bright of a highlight over here. Anyway. Okay, we're working through this. I was getting a little out of hand with the highlights up there by the eye. I was like, ooh, getting a little nuts there, dude. Too much. Okay. Like, you never want to paint too close, too. You easily kind of like forget stuff. But anyway, what kind of cold do you have, Rain? Is it just like fatigue, exhaustion? You get sick at, you get festival funk? I don't know. Is that like a thing that people talk about? I know you go to a lot of music shows. We have like con funk. It's like, I guess con funk turned into like COVID eventually, where you're just like, oh yeah, it's the sickness you get from just being around a crap ton of people too much. Oh god, 90k people. Ugh. Sounds like a fun time though, besides the fact that it's gross and you got sick from it. Organization, yeah. That's not great, sorry to hear. Ooh. Oh, that dark, that gray, that looks kind of, I don't know. On my screen it looks more green, on your screen it probably looks a little gray, but I am into that. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. I do like that though. really bump it up. That's like pretty much the highest highlight I could really think of putting now at this point. Oops. Trying to scroll down. Getting there. I mean, like there's always a point where you're like, I could just render this forever, and I think it's just going to be a matter of like where we decide to stop for this. If we want to keep it more graphic, if we want to push it and render the whole thing. And I think that's like one of the kind of nicer things, like rendering just takes time and practice, and once you've done a lot of it, at any point you can kind of be like, you know what, I want it to be more loose, or I want it to be more rendered, and you can sort of like push and pull till you get to a point where you're like, oh, I'm happy with this. This is like what I'm trying to achieve, if that makes sense. This is way too crazy. Way too crazy, y'all. One, it's too pink. I'm realizing. Two, it's just like the brightest part about her. And we want bright. That was like too bright. Just trying to make sure that her face, like, even though like form moves like differently depending on how close it is to the light, you still want it to feel like, you know, her cheekbones are like relatively the same size and they're all symmetrical. So even though we're like painting this pretty considerably, like the shadow side is pretty different from the light side, still don't want it to be too crazy. And I think I'm going to try to darken the shadow side a little bit more and mute it out. So it really does feel like there's a stronger light. Like, I'm pushing the lighting, basically, is what I'm doing. Is that, like, yes, this is, like, there's a lot of information here on this side of the face, but, like, on my version, I want to, like, simplify it in some ways. Part of that softening this edge. Yeah, I lost a little bit too much of the form there. You just got it. Did you just get that now? Did they literally just be like, "Hey, Rain, we want you to come tell us how did we do?" And you're like, "You suck." Ah, that's wild. Well, now you can tell them what you thought about them. You're like, you guys get your act together. This is that plane's a little dark, I think. That feels a little bit better. Damn. That sounds terrible. It's like the stuff of Firefest nightmares. Cool. Hmm. What was it like? What like made it so bad? Everything? Which is a fine answer too. Like it all sucked. They're terrible. That's pretty terrible. You know it's bad when like people are like, "What was it bad about?" Like you're like everything. And you're like, ugh, damn. All right. Let me try to list it. It's like furiously typing away for the next like 4 hours. Oh, here we go. This is part of it. I was like, you're not switching. I know you're not switching. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to me, Photoshop. Give me what I want. Oh. That's weird. Well, some of it's like supposed to be like reserved parking or like premium parking. No, it was just all like stupid and dumb. I mean, I believe that too. No, it's just like people just don't know what's going on. Yeah, I feel like so much of event organization is like half of it is like getting good volunteers. Because that's like a thing. Uh, Sounds like pretty, just like... Used to slope there. Oh, so you mean like a... They used like a big hill basically as part of like, oh, this is camping area, and then they're like, I'm gonna roll down the hill if I... Yeah, you... Got it. Got it. Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy. Ah. Okay, it's definitely not a perfect likeness, but I feel like it's a portrait, and I think it's actually kind of a cool portrait. Yee. Oh, it sounds like you have essays to write to these people. Oh. You think they're just trying to like make more money? So they're like, we'll skimp on stuff. Or do you think you just got shafted this time and last time was terrible too, but like you just didn't know because you had a good camping spot? Cost cutting for the loss. Cost cutting for the loss. I'm sorry. That sounds genuinely pretty craptastic. So it was more than just you, it seems like. I mean, that's always good. Because I feel like whenever there's a bunch of people angry, you're like, oh, yeah, this is justified. People are pissed off for a reason, and it's not just me. That's fair. You know, I don't think I've ever actually really gone to a music festival that I camped at. Not my jam. But if that's your jam and camping's part of it, then I hope you get your refund, or like, I don't know, they make it better and stop sucking so much. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, well, okay, I guess I've also lived close enough to big cities that, like, I don't know, like, I've also just never been interested in doing something like, I don't know how big the festival was, but like the thing in the States that I would think of would be like Coachella, and I'm just like, that just sounds fucking too many people and terrible for me. I'm just like, that would not be fun. Alright. I feel like we're gonna start making this worse. Let me just flip it. Okay. Simplify that. Oh, that's good. As long as you know. That sounds cool. Okay, here we go. Cheating a little bit. No, most of the time, to be fair, people's faces aren't symmetrical anyway. But you're just looking for major kind of like anatomical flaws when you do like the flip. Like I don't know, like that's why a lot of people say they like don't like themselves in pictures. It's because pictures are capturing you like as you are, and what we're used to seeing in our head is how we look in a mirror, and those aren't always the same because like you know like you have like everyone has like minute differences. Like my left eye is like usually smaller than my right eye, and so I'm used to seeing that as my left eye. It's like on the left side of the canvas, but then when I look at a photo, if it flips it, it'll be on the right side, and so I don't know. It just looks weird to me. I like that better. Transition that a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, I like that. It's looking good. Looking good to me. Let me flip back, see if it still looks good. Just because the eyes are different shapes. This one is a little bit rounder, that one's more horizontal, but... And also, yeah, the size of this area from the edge of her eye to the edge of her head is bigger than this one. So we can fix that actually pretty easily. Check. Oh, this is, and then like her jaw is bigger on this side. So the easiest thing we could do, extend out her jaw a little bit. Like you don't notice this one is, the jaw isn't as noticeable because of how similar, how it's just kind of like fading back anyway. But because this is lit, you can kind of see it. Lasso tool, please. Come on. Yeah, like that. That's really sloppy. I feel like my keyboard shortcuts aren't doing what I want them to do. I'm not going to stress too much about a little detail like the earring. As long as they are in the same place, which they're not. This one is way too low. Okay, that's about right. I don't know. How are you feeling about this? Okay. Okay. I think we're almost there to a point that we can just sort of like chill. Say we're good. I don't mind the neck being a little like the edges being a little bit more carved because I feel like that just it's simplified and it's not supposed to be like hyper rendered, but we can render it a little bit more. Okay, we can tell that we're getting close to being done on this because the computer is starting to fight me. When that happens, we know we're getting good. Oh, God damn it. Mess this up, we gotta repaint it. Yeah, that's always a sign to be like, maybe start a new painting, do something else. Okay. Alright, this is a pretty good study. I'm pretty stoked on this, I feel like. Okay. Now we can make it all like, now that I'm like, you know, sometimes I have to do stuff like this just to prove to myself that I like know what I'm doing or that like I can do more kind of traditional classical portraits. And then I'm like, okay. Now I get all crazy and I'm like, all right, I can do that too. Like, you know, you can make her more of a creepy-eyed witch. You could have blood running down her eyes. Hmm. What else should we do? We can do the standard smeared blood on the lips, or like the corners of the mouth. Little chunks of meat, maybe. What else? How else can we make this horrific, Rain? What do you want to see? What should we do to make it all creepy? Creepy, creepy. Scar. Maybe like, I don't know, there is something to be said about like maybe like charcoal or something, like a ash. A smudge tool. I turned it into a smudge tool. Okay. What would be a good ash? Another mouth out of her chest. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Let's see. Is there like a charcoal? Okay. We have that. Like I have a pretty hard stop at 4 or at the top of the hour. So 12 minutes to. Oh, you know what? I've been watching Yellow Jackets. Can't believe it took me so long to watch that. Let me look at like Yellow Jacket sigil. I really like the creepy woods sigil. The symbol. Okay. And the way that I'm gonna render this is I'm just gonna lock transparent pixels, and then I'm gonna just kind of like put in a lighter side and then a darker side, and hopefully that should look like it's like, even though Ash is like pretty flat, it should still give it a little bit of a three-dimensionality. But there's like some rendering going on here. Okay. No, and then another mouth out of her chest. All right. Okay. I don't know if there's enough room to do a good mouth. I think we could do we could start a mouth. I don't know. We could do a mouth like on her neck, maybe. I feel like by making it a Yellow Jackets thing, I now kind of like, now I'm like, what would make sense in the Yellow Jacket world? And I'm like, fuck, god damn it. I should have done a Dark Wheel sigil and it would have been fine. Okay. Okay, well, we'll start a new look. I'll have a... thing with like, you know, the problem with painting or like thinking about mouths that are like that don't exist becomes then like, how does it attach, or like how much of the skin is involved in opening and closing it? Like, you get interesting problems that you have to start like thinking about anatomy and figuring out. You're like, how is this gonna work? How's the light gonna hit it? It's all these like weird things to doing weird demon mouths. Generally, you want the top lip to be darker than the bottom lip. Just because it faces down more, and then the bottom lip should be at least like the brightest highlights are going to hit the bottom. Nope. Screw you. Random spam person. Go away. Go away. The ban hammer has been dropped. Not that that dude cares. Now it's making me be like, oh, I should kind of need to clean up some of this anatomy down here a little bit better. That's kind of nice. Instead of like a neck tat, you're just like, wait, what is that? And then you like look, and then it's like, oh, she's got another mouth on her neck. Pretty wild. Pretty wild and gross, huh? Huh? Yeah. Get some of this like blue, green, gray light. Oh, you know, because that's the other thing is that like if we're hyping up the lips, like you would actually likely you'd get this like under the lip light from the reflected light. Probably on the upper lip, but it doesn't look good, so I'm gonna not do it. You can kiss her twice. It's true. There we go. Do you think both mouths go to the like the stomach? Like, could she be like, she's like, I'm in a really hurry, I have to eat quick, and she like takes like, she like breaks a like a protein bar in half, and then like goes like nom 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 nom, and like pushes it in her neck, and then eats it, and then she's like, she eats because she can eat twice as fast. That'd be kind of cool. I like that I have like. You're like, oh, portrait, and then you're like, creepy portrait, and then you're like, really creepy portrait. Although I have to say, the under the lip reflective light, I think adds a lot. See, look, you're like, yeah, that's okay, and then you're like, ooh, nice, nice. It's a little bit too much. Just gotta knock it down a little bit. Yeah, like that. There we go. Get the right anatomy in the right place, and then you're like, okay. See, it's just a little bit. Bop. Bop. Looks good. And then you're like, wait, does that also turn on a mouth layer? You're like, yes, it does. Yes, my friend, it does. Well, this is a cool witch lady. Yeah, you don't need as much time for lunch. Why don't you optimize your meals and have a second mouth implanted into your neck? Yeah, that's what. Okay, that could be my new corporate startup. Implanting a feeding tube, so you don't even have to eat, or like maybe it comes out of your stomach, so it could be discreet underneath your like gym clothes. You just plug in your like Soylent bag, and then you don't even have to eat. You can just like keep working, and it just like it like automatically siphons it into your stomach at a you would never have to eat again. Just have a little siphon thing and have it like you like fill up the big weird pouch that you strap over your shoulder, and it slowly just gravity feeds it. You just sit and work all day long. I fucking hate dystopia. I feel like I could get. I feel like if I made that into a startup, I guarantee you, I bet you I could get one person to have that installed in themselves, which is very sad. And not like because I'm paying them a lot, because they're like, huh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'm into it. That's cool. I like the blue is bright. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Alright. This felt good. I like this. And I got to try out my thing of like using more golds for like the cheek and nose area if you have darker skin. Woo, I like that. Really sings. That highlight on the cheeks is maybe a little bit too push, but like that's a very Rick thing to do, is like have like make everything look wet. But anyway. Alright. This is her. Okay. Almost. Nope. Alright. I knocked it down a little bit because I think it was a little bit too intense. But I should also knock this one down then. Okay. Alright. Stop fucking with it. I'm done. Okay. Thanks for hanging out, Rain. Get some rest. I hope you feel better. And yeah. I hope you get your package soon. For everyone who doesn't know us, you don't know what I'm sending First Rain, but I send her something, and hopefully she likes it. Well, she should like it. So. But hopefully it should come in the next couple days. So yeah. Alright. Get some rest, my friend. Cool, get it tomorrow. Excellent. Enjoy. Oh. Damn. Well, hopefully you can pick it up tomorrow. And it's all good. Okay. It is a national holiday in the States tomorrow, so I am peacing out. Because my wife gets the day off, so we're going to go hang out, do stuff. Play with cats, maybe. But yeah. Thanks so much, everybody. GG, GN. Fingers crossed. Feel better. Peace out. Bye bye.